Gentlemen, can you hear me now? I think you should be able to hear me now. What a sad story. Guys on Discord, if you can confirm as well.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Alright, yeah, I think we're going through now. Okay, I'm going to summarize it for you in a nutshell. 2 days ago, I updated Windows 10 Professional that I'm running here to the 2004 version. Initially, it looked like everything was going sharp. We were all happy and no stutters, nothing funny. And then things started falling apart. Couple of things broke. It's not relevant now quite what it is. And this morning, just before the stream, I started my OBS facility here to do the broadcasting, and that broke. So I had to reinstall the OBS. I had to update my VGA drivers just before the stream, and unfortunately the audio in OBS seemed to have been one of the last casualties. So guys, I apologize. Thank you for telling me, and thank you for bearing with me and just sticking it out. So let's start from the beginning. Arjen, good morning. Alba Pino, Scott, um, Steve, Rudy, Skystorm, Scott, great stuff, guys. Thanks, nice having you here. Thanks for joining us. This isn't a very long flight. I have actually been contracted to do some proper training with a user later on, so I don't want to fly too much right now because I'm gonna be in for a couple of hours training with him one-on-one later. And then if I am not totally exhausted, we'll do another flight this evening. So I had to play around a little bit with what we're going to do. So guys, without wasting any more time, we've got a couple of guys on Discord here. They've said good morning twice as we were trying to get the audio going. I don't suppose you want to say morning a third time, guys?
Third time. Morning.
There we go. Captain Pepka. There we go. All right. So, one of the things I also did when obviously I'm busy testing, I don't fiddle with add-ons and mods and things, but I did mod my aircraft again. I've got my coffee back. I've got my own tablet now, and you know the displays and everything is back to the way I would like them to be. So. All in all, in for a good show. We had a lot of rain here at Stansted earlier, just before the stream started. It seems to have dissipated a little bit, but still a bit gloomy weather. Guys, and yeah, that's it. I mean, enjoy the show and, you know, start chatting and doing the normal thing. You know, don't be shy. Let's go. Let's see. I've already done some of the setup, so I need to continue with the FMC now. By the way, gents, I'm flying on Iveo this morning. One of the casualties in this whole struggle was ex-pilot, and some of the guys here want to fly with me, so we're going for Iveo. If there are any Iveo pilots or ATC here wants to join in the fun, you're more than welcome. I must say, I'm pretty excited about the new development, the announcement that they're working on their new audio engine. It's going to be marvelous getting away from this TeamSpeak 2 situation that we are in. The new pilot client is absolutely fantastic, so that will be a great addition. Did you see that, Reggie? He did not hear me. Right, let's go.
Oh, sorry, yeah. I was concentrating then.
Yeah, no worries. Did you see they talking about the new audio now?
Yeah, we had discussion earlier. I'm on a Mac, and I think it's good for the Mac. I'll have another look.
Yeah, no worries. Look, I mean, it's still in development. I'm just asking if you are familiar with the idea that's coming.
Oh, yeah, altitude.
No. There's a new audio piece that's coming. It's not just the altitude. It's they've got the new clients, but they're working on something like what Watson has got now. This new fancy audio client.
Okay.
Yeah, this needs to be fixed. Right, so let's quickly have a look here. Good. That is very, very close. Okay, so in a few versions ago, there was an issue with the Zibo. They didn't like the two waypoints so close to each other. We'll see what happens when we get there. But it visually looks appealing. It looks like we did a great job with this. Right. So guys on stream, I hope you had a good week and that you're also going to have a good rest over the weekend. You know, that you can recharge for the coming week.
I've had a busy and varied week, but it's quite tiring. But yeah, pretty good.
Good.
And now relaxing watching you. It's good.
Excellent, excellent.
Morning to you, Paul.
By the way, Paul, I'm glad you are here. I want to tell you something.
Excellent.
Remember we had the talk about SimBrief, who changed their rounding calculation a couple of days ago, and I said I'll update the Zibo install guide to reflect that. I see that it's not supposed to be 50 kilograms. We need to add 30 kilograms in the EFB. I need to change that. So I'll change this in the Zibo install guide. But guys on stream and for Paul, the way I counted this rounding issue that SimBrief has now introduced was to just change the galley weight. I've just added 30 kilograms to the bottom one. So this is, you know, similar to what you see in the guide already, but the bottom one I had to add 30 kilograms. I played with 50, then 40, then 30. 30 seems to be the most constant change that gives us the actual proper calculation. If we show you the OFP and we look at the zero fuel weight there, and we look at the zero fuel weight there, it's 62.3. So Paul, the value should actually be 30 kilograms. That seems to be the magic number that does that allows SimBrief to do the rounding the way Zibo does it.
Oh, that's good.
Excellent, Albapino. Yes, you know what? I'm gonna start getting some cheese and something to drink here with me as well on a Saturday morning. You always get me going with that cheese, man. Dream Virtual Flight. Good morning. All right, so let's continue.
I suppose it can get quite complicated depending on the number of things that are being rounded.
Yes, yes.
And it could flip one way or the other depending where you put your extra galley weight. So that's interesting stuff.
Very, very. So this is currently what I fly with. Okay, I haven't flown with an empty weight or near empty weight. I mean, you guys know I always put a lot of weight into the aircraft. You know, just me. But for the way I fly, 30 seems to be the one. So yeah, that's it.
And morning, Uncle John.
Good morning to you, sir. There's a slight delay when anybody speaks, Paul, because I have to click back on Discord at the top once I've been on the main screen.
Okay.
Albapino, I'll go back to that. I'll show you just now. 21.6. Right, so let's quickly go back there. So Albapino, what I do, and I mean I did not take a calculator, I was literally just guessing. What you need to do is you take this value, your fin res and your alternate, then you add them together. So that's 2.8 and a little bit, that's just over 2.9. So what I did was I just rounded it off and I used 3 as my rounded value when I add those two up. Where's my calculator? Let's see what it's really supposed to be. So we're talking 2.933. So I mean I just took it to 3. Excellent. I'm glad you asked.
Slow. Pull up.
This is my first flight of the day, so
Wind
we
shear.
might as well
Wind shear.
do some
Wind
checks.
shear. In up. Think rate. Think rate. Terrain. Terrain. Pull up. Don't sink. Don't sink. Too low. Terrain. Too low. Gear. Too low. Flaps. Too low. Terrain. Flight slow.
Are you right now?
Bank angle.
810?
Approaching minimum.
Yes, sir.
Well, I can see you.
500. 1,000.
Ah, no,
500.
just now.
But I can't see me.
300. 200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
What's your call sign?
Wind shear. Wind shear. Wind shear.
Romeo Charlie Whiskey 129er.
Too low. Terrain. Terrain ahead.
Yeah, I've got it now, I think.
Terrain ahead.
Yeah, I can see you. You're on SDKP.
Pull up.
Yep.
Obstacle.
I've got to sort out the CSL because
Ahead. Pull
Nico's
up.
half buried.
Albapino, let me explain. We have 3 different kinds of flight simmers and people who watch my streams. We've got the guys who don't know much, but they are very interested. Some of them want to learn and better themselves, and some of them don't, you know, but they generally, you know, not very familiar with real world procedures. Then you get the avid simmer, where I would find myself as well. We try and go to the extreme to simulate as close to reality as possible. But we have one small problem. Because we are not real world type rated, and because we are not familiar with real world tips and tricks, we sometimes learn things and we believe them to be gospel, until one day you meet the third kind of flight simmer. The third kind of flight simmer is a real world type rated pilot who is used to his real world environment, his real world tips and tricks, and his real world SOP. Now, in the last 2 and a bit years I've been involved with the Zibo project now, we've encountered all 3 of them, and the kind of fights and the bull dust that comes when you put these 3 people together is terrible sometimes, okay? And what happens is some people are mature enough to absorb the other 2 parties and their opinions. Some are childish and they simply cannot. Okay, so that is where the friction then comes into. So in the last couple of weeks, especially now with lockdown, there was an influx of a lot of real world pilots all of a sudden trying to take over and give all their input and bombarding us with no, this is right, no, this is wrong, and then you have a couple of pedantic little flight simmers sitting in the middle who thought they knew something, and you understand what I'm getting to. It became a mess. Okay, so there's no, to answer your question now directly with that little bit of background, there is no right and wrong. There is a thing called a standard operating procedure. Some of the airlines use page 2, some of the airlines just simply don't. If we go back to the basics of how Boeing operates, anything with a dashed line is a nice to have. It is not a life and death requirement. Okay, so I had a guy come on my stream and literally rip me apart in 1 or 2 sentences, and then he ran away. He didn't even give me a chance to respond properly, which is fine. I then also had another guy contact me in private message asking me what's wrong with me for using page 2. So that's when my investigation started. I have got literally a list of almost 100 real-world pilots that I can communicate with, and now I have to sit and I have to sift through. Ryanair does it this way, Alitalia does it this way, LL does it this way, British Airways does it this way, Copa does it this way. You understand? And now you're sitting with United, you're sitting with freaking Alaska Air, the South African guys, and it's a whole mess. So I made a decision to stick to basic Boeing principles, because nobody can argue with Boeing principles. And if we disregard the emotion and the childishness that comes with some of these people, and we look at the Boeing principle, it simply says a dashed line is not required, a block is required, and we operate that way. Then it says basically to me, I don't need to do this. This is a nice to have. There's nothing wrong if you do it. A lot of guys do it. There's nothing wrong if you don't do it. A lot of guys don't do it. I just had to find a happy place in the interim somewhere. A lot of the real world guys, in fact, not one of them said that this is irrelevant. They were worried about that. They say that is not relevant anymore because of the calculation that get done. Most of the newer generation airlines and pilots walk around with tablets. They've got, I mean, if you look at the flight deck to sim videos, you can see the actual Boeing type performance calculator that he uses. Now, unless you are a pilot or you have a lot of money lying around, you're not going to get access to that piece of software that he has. Okay, and this is why this might be important to you. If you worked out your performance calculation properly, let's say with TopCat or whatever as a flight simmer, you don't really need this. It's a nice to have, and this is why I've been teaching it. It's a nice to have. I like to fill in the blanks, myself. I don't like leaving things undone. But in all honesty, I'm tired of sitting between the rock and the hard place and childish people. So it's easier for me to fall back on the Boeing thing. We'll skip that. If we have a weather condition, we can use the weather condition. If there's a noise abatement thing like today, let's use the noise abatement. Okay, let's use cutback. I don't mind using any of these, because in the real world, any of these things, if we make an inverted L over there, it looks like a J almost now. That's all good and well. Nobody can fault you on that. But man, the childish nonsense that came because of these two lines, it just was too much for me, so I started skipping it. And that's about the end of the story. Sorry for the long story, but that rattled my cage a little bit. Anyway.
I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, there you go. That's enough. Let's continue.
I'm starting to push back, Nico.
Alright. Okay. I better get the move on now. I've passed my 20 minutes, so I need to go.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same.
But I'm starting my APU, so you guys, you're welcome to get a move on, then there won't be any conflicts and we won't be on each other's tails, so you're welcome. I'll leave in about 5 minutes or so.
Captain Hatch on the fasten seatbelt sign. We do ask that all passengers take your seat at this time and please fasten your seatbelt. Just as a reminder, we cannot leave the gate until all carrying items are properly put away. All overhead bins are closed and all passengers are seated.
I've just turned on my Unicom, and I've got the little disc of death at the moment.
A unicorn, Reggie.
A unicorn.
Just leave a trail of rainbows for me to follow. I'll be happy. Right.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up. Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
Ora, I agree. Good morning, good morning. Yeah, you guys don't have any idea some of the crap we have to go through in the background, eh? And everybody tries to be more clever than the next guy. And sometimes it's really unpleasant. But you're right, we must stick to the positive stuff. Like you say, Uncle John, the 1%ers, they don't matter.
No, they don't, because you end up spending all your time on the 1%ers instead of concentrating on the 99.
Yeah.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking
Right,
brake.
guys, can I push as well? There's nobody that I'm going to interfere with. Nope, let's go.
Starting pushback.
Who
and you may
is
start engine.
RCW 129? Anybody familiar? Anybody on our team?
That's me.
You are. Excellent.
I'm just about ready to start here. Push back. I'm trying to make sure I've not missed anything, as I usually do when I'm doing this under pressure.
Yeah, don't feel pressured. Don't feel pressured at all.
Flight attendants prepare for
We're here to
departure.
enjoy
Cross-check and all
ourselves, and I
calling.
think that's one thing that a lot of guys miss. You know, some of these guys are chasing reality so much they completely start missing the entertainment side of things.
Like the stewardesses or what?
Yeah, I don't know what Trisha looks like, but she sounds really nice. I like her voice a lot. Mooner, good morning. Thank you.
I'm taxiing to the runway now, guys.
Okay. Taking runway 37 today.
Oh, I'm set up for 2-2.
Okay.
I should have asked really, but still.
Operation complete.
I can't change it.
Set parking
No,
brake.
sir, I'm making a joke. There is no runway 37. It stops at 36.
Disconnecting tow.
I'm just being silly. I was so, I feel I was a little bit so, what's the right word? Serious. I was a bit serious just now, you know, with my whole speech. So I just want to break the seriousness and just make it fun again.
Nico, you've now gone into teenager mode.
Yeah, trying to make like I can.
Okay for me to push back, Nico?
I'm going to be out of your way in a minute. If you can just give me a minute, that would be appreciated. Just starting my last engine, Reggie. If you push back now, you're going to block me.
Okay. Better get the tow first, regardless.
Right, okay. I'm taxiing. I don't know where this guy is. He's gone. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Once we're cruising, the approaches at Baden-Baden are a bit confusing. I'll sort that out when we're cruising.
Right, you can push.
The tug's just arrived.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking off, guys.
Okay.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Right, I'm gonna just roll into position and go.
Approaching 2-2.
Right, I'm pushing back.
On runway 2-2.
Well, it's 11 knots at the rotation point, so the wind is picking up and it's blowing a bit to counter it. Come
A little bit bouncy on takeoff.
on. Yeah, no, definitely. There we go. Okay. Albapino, all you do is you click the WXR button. The moment you see that WXR, it's on. You will not see a reflection on the radar unless it is a lot of water. It's not going to reflect the clouds like this, and it will not reflect just a little shower. You have to have a lot of water for it to actually show. But trust me, it works. When you fly into the appropriate area where it needs to work, it will work. Yeah, it needs a lot of water. Not just rainy weather. It needs to be a proper storm cloud, eh? Proper storm with lots of water. Oh, it looks nice going through these clouds and the layers here. Wow. We're in the cutback phase. Once we get to 3000 AGL, it will switch back to normal climb mode. We've got all these height restrictions we need to adhere to anyway. We've got to climb, I think, past 5000. There we go, there it's accelerating. Left the cutback. Yeah, to be above 3000. And that one, and then 5,000 over there, 5,000 over there. Lots of restrictions here in the southern British airspace. Thanks, Albapino. This is the Active Sky performance cloud textures, but in Vulkan, Vulkan seems to display them very, very differently to what they display in XP11.41. The same textures, but it displays completely different. Not bad, cloud surfing. Yeah, then they look even better in 11.41 Albapina. They look much better there.
Made my first nervous mistake. Forgot to put the fuel on.
Oops.
I've never been. It's like an exam for me. I've always been the same. I can learn stuff, but as soon as I'm in the exam and we're under pressure, it's like the shutter comes down. It's really weird.
Zilitos, morning. Yeah, this is Active Sky. Sorry, I didn't realize earlier on. I'm scrolling back up in the chat there to see if I missed somebody. Sorry, Zilitos. Good morning. I did miss your good morning there. There we are, accelerating for the next step up. Bye-bye clouds.
I live and learn. I'll be with you shortly. I'll restart the APU.
Dream virtual flight, the takeoff performance is not complete, so you can't really use it. It's not done. There's no point in doing anything with it. This one is done, and all you need to do is you need to fill in the blanks. So if you start populating the blanks and you get all the relevant information, it will give you a page 2, and then you can see your landing performance. It works very well. It's proper, but the takeoff performance, Zibo has never finished that, and he has never told me when it will be done. He just said he's too busy for it right now. Hello Noel, good morning. Guys, please don't be sorry to ask questions. That's what I'm here for. If you feel you have a question, ask it. If anybody gives you grief because of it, we ban that person, because then he shouldn't be here. You know, nobody has the right to laugh at anybody for asking a question or make them feel bad. So you are very well protected, if I can put it that way. Feel free to ask your questions. If I don't know the answer, I can ask Zibo directly, or I can ask Twixter or Jan or any of the team members or any of the other real world pilots that I speak with. So there's a wealth of information available if you just want to ask. So while we're waiting for this to happen, let's quickly have a look at this page. I'm just going to turn my head a little bit and then get this page on for us as well. So we're going to take a bit of artistic license right now. We're going to look at the weather, and we're going to assume that the QNH and the winds and everything that is reported is going to stay the same. We can check this a little bit later on, but I just want to show you how this works. Alright, so the QNH is 1013. Our winds are reported to be 270 at 6. Alright, the outside temperature is reported to be 23. Alright, we've got the QNH. We're going to do a flaps 30 landing. Anti-ice, or the air conditioner will be auto. Your anti-ice will be off. Brakes, let's do this. This is a neat trick. Leave them to all, and then you'll see all of them, and you can decide from the graphic which one you want. We don't care about any of these other things. Then landing weight is very, very important. So we find that on the OFP. This again, guys, is a guesstimate. This is done before the actual flight, so fuel burn could be different. But let's use that. So that's 65.9, and on the winds is only 6 knots, so we're not going to add anything else there. What we're going to do now is we're going to go to page 2, and over here now it tells us, based upon the landing weight, that will be the VREF plus 5, that will be the speed we dial in on the MCP. That's landing weight. Right, so and then over here it basically talks about the different distances that each auto brake setting will give you. So number 1 is almost, you're going to kill yourself. So a 2 or a 3 or a max would be better. Okay, so it tells you the exact distance you're going to need with this load and this weather configuration. And then you just literally use the information. So I think I'm going to use auto brake 2. Why not? There's enough room left for us, so we put it on auto brake 2. We're going to require 2,470 meters, and there is enough room to stop there. We can always go to full manual braking if you want. And if you are a person that is rather safe than sorry, then obviously we'll just go to the brake 3. See, and then you will basically stop at the almost the middle of the runway, just over the middle. Yeah, there's no facility. That page is not working during virtual flight. Rudy, why is the VREF on the tablet often different slightly from the FMC? It's possibly the rounding. We discussed the rounding a little bit earlier. There is a rounding difference, for instance, between SimBrief and how Zibo rounds, and we've had to make certain concessions, to make it look reasonably correct. And I mean, I had to add some weights into the tablet that shouldn't be there, just to match up what SimBrief is doing. In terms of your other VREFs, if you look at fuel burn, actual fuel burn versus estimated fuel burn, there could be a discrepancy. If you look at weather could cause a discrepancy. So just in 3 points, there's a couple of options that you can look at why there are differences. You're welcome at virtual flight.
Solves the problem, taxiing.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I personally, the scenery that you saw this morning, this is UK 2000 payware scenery for Stansted. The free one is from TDG. Nothing wrong with it. It's a beautiful piece of scenery. But because of my allegiance with Ryanair and everything I do with it, you know, over many years now. Stansted has always been like my home for Ryanair, so I just paid a bit of money to get that. No wear and tear cost is the two quick answers I can think of. You get two types of brake pads. You get the carbon ones and the steel ones. The carbon ones generally hold a lot longer, and they are also not as hot, you know, to operate as the steel ones. But it comes down to your operator and how they do it. Let me give you a real world example. The airline I used to work for would always land on auto brake 3 because of the cost of taxi, you know, and the time wasted, you know, and especially if they are running late. What the guys would do coming into Cape Town International, I've been in the cockpit, I've sat there, I've watched it happen myself in the jump seat, you know, experiencing it. The guys go for auto brake 3 and they get off at the very first taxiway. They make that aircraft stop because they have to turn around so fast and get back to Joburg. You know, they pressed for time. The other side, coming back to Joburg, we used to operate from Lanseria Airport. It's, you know, when you look at the hot and high condition here in Johannesburg, as well as the short length of that runway. I mean, you can see, if you look here on my channel, you can see one of the landings we did there at night. We literally used up like 3/4.5 of the runway. We came off right at the end of the runway because that runway is so short. In that instance, the guys, as far as I can remember, used full max auto brake because we had a tailwind of 12 knots landing that night, and you know, the runway is short and it's hot, so you've got to take all those things into consideration. And once you get into the training side of things, they teach you kind of nicely how to discern these things, how to calculate it and what's right and wrong. But for us flight sim pilots, as a flight simmer, there's no reason not to use max auto brake every time because it doesn't cost us money. But a real world operator, I mean, it's not just the disc pads, it's also the disc itself. You know, it's a lot of money. So Reggie, did you take off yet?
Just holding short, doing the switches, then ready to go.
Okay. Uncle John?
Yes, sir.
How far are you?
I'm behind you. Give me a second, I'll give you my... I'm climbing at 16,000.
Okay.
Cruise 31.
Yeah, I've got you on the Sim Toolkit Pro map. Steve, that's an interesting question. Thanks for asking. I did 2 days ago, and I had teething problems. All right. So far, I've managed to fix everyone. It's not the end of the world. I think once you realize that with a Windows change, you're going to have to update certain other pieces of software that you are using, and if you're capable of, doing that, then there's no reason not to use it. The Windows I'm using this morning is 2004. I'm using Windows 10 Professional, and I seem to have sorted all my issues. I had to update my VGA drivers. I had to reinstall my OBS software just before the stream, otherwise I couldn't do the stream, for instance. Xpilot started crashing on me, don't know why. That's why I moved to Iveo, and I'm flying on Iveo this morning because this is the Vulkan version of X-Plane. And the last thing I wanted was to get to this point or somewhere in this stream and we're all enjoying ourselves, and then Xpilot crashes my X-Plane. So I'll go fiddle with that afterwards on my own sometime, see if it was related to something that I might have not updated yet. We'll go read the forums and see what the guys say. But other than that, it's performing beautifully. One of the things that I'm also testing, just for interest's sake, this morning is this NVIDIA threaded optimization. I've flown with it off a couple of days now, and today I'm flying with it on. I want to see the difference. I'll do a couple of flights with it on again, because we're getting conflicting information from Laminar Research as to whether it should be on or off. They say it needs to be off, and when I switch it off, I don't think I get the same performance. My performance is still better with it on. So I'm testing it. I'm just fiddling and seeing.
I'm up, holding at 4,000 now, so on my way at last.
Hallelujah. Good stuff. Good to know.
Well, I'm just about to reach cruise altitude.
1,000 to go.
Steve, you are correct. It seems that the Windows currently, the actual Windows version, has a lifespan of approximately 18 months. Every 18 months, Microsoft discontinues the support of a previous version. I'm speaking just quickly from what I can recall we discussed in the week with the customer of mine. They don't change the name of the Windows, it's still Windows 10, but the subsystem completely changes every 18 months. So at some point in time you are definitely going to be forced. Anthony, thank you for that. Yeah, I seem to see the same, so I'm happy leaving it on. Zibo said he's also testing it, and he'll discuss it with me when he's ready, so then I'll hear what he says. But my personal feeling is it's just smoother with it on as well. You don't have the massive fluctuation in frame rates when it's on.
No, Mr. Harkin this morning.
Yeah, you remember he worked late, so he's probably still sleeping.
Clouds look good, even in default scenery. Clever stuff.
No, yeah, you're in for a surprise, my friend. This honeycomb yoke is totally different to anything else I've ever owned. You're gonna enjoy it, I'm sure. Hello, good morning, Richard. Yeah, it's been a while, eh? 40-inch TV, lekker man. Steve, you're welcome. Guys, while we're on that subject, I don't know how many of you know this, alright? I want to show you something, but you need to pay really good attention and come back, and don't blame me if you do this incorrectly now, okay? If you do a search, you know, at the bottom you either got Cortana or you've got your little magnifying glass, the search facility in Windows 10. If you type the words disk cleanup, you will see there's a built-in Windows disk cleaner. Now you need to run this as the administrator. You have to absolutely run it as the administrator. It looks like this. There it is. Okay. Let me show you something. It's going to do a quick scan of my system. Right, there you go. So basically what I do after I do my Windows update, and this is for you now, Steve, and everybody else is going to do this. Once you are done, please just make sure, I don't see it, maybe it's just because I'm in too much of a hurry. If your ordinary downloads folder is in here and you don't want to lose anything, just make sure you untick that. But for the rest, I tick everything, alright? And I don't even bother to go to more options. I just tick everything and I click on OK. One of the things that this little program will do is it will remove your previous Windows, because remember, when Windows does a Windows update, it never removes your previous Windows. It literally just puts it in a different folder, you know, out of the way. It's there, it's backed up. So when I looked at this 2 days ago when I did my upgrade, I had more than 31 gigabyte of wasted space just because of that dead weight that's now lying there. So this is a good tip for you guys from an IT guy now. If you do your Windows updates, please make sure to actually run this little program. Get rid of that extra dead weight fluff. You don't need it, but don't do it the first day. Just make sure your machine runs, because I mean, Kevin, another one of our followers, he said to me he had so much trouble with 2004 he had to roll back. Alright, now in that event, if you've run this little program, you're screwed. You can't roll it back. But once you are happy, please run this, you know, recover some of your disk space. 31 gigabyte is 31 gigabyte if you start running out of space, you know. Chris, thanks for the tip, my friend. Nice to see you on stream with us. Your 15 Australian dollars means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Ah, Richard, that's interesting. I didn't realize mine was lying and waiting for me. When I was talking to Kevin, the other Kevin now, the other day, and I went to my Windows updates, I saw it's there. I just had to click the restart button. It restarted 2, 3, 4 times, done. You know, so I didn't even know it was waiting for me. You're welcome, Steve. Dream Virtual Flight 1. Why the DDG is available? No, it's not. Look in the video description below this stream. Follow that link. It was probably developed in XP11.10, but I guarantee you it works in XP11. Everybody that I know that did not purchase the UK 2001 is using it in XP11. And for some of my training videos, I actually used it as well. It definitely works in 11. Yeah, this area in Europe is notoriously bad for FPS. Look here, there's nothing funny running, and look how bad the FPS drops. Terrible. .6 nautical miles for top of descent. Let's actually start looking at a couple of things here. Alright, so just by doing my quick calculation, if we go back, let's see how close we are. Look there. The estimated landing weight and the actual gross weight according to the calculation in the FMC is exactly the same. So that means that our calculation that we did in that landing performance calculator is actually spot on. Very nice. Sometimes it's not, so don't take this as gospel, but sometimes, like today, we're very lucky. Just set our flaps 30, go to our forecast. Then let's start from the top left. Let's see what is our transition altitude. Come on. Transition altitude is 5,000. So 5, 0. Let's run the numbers. 200. Right, let's go find those ones. T42 at 28. We do not have a ISA deviation for some reason, and we're going to use 1013. So /1013 execute. Right, so that takes care of this side of things for us. Then let's look at Navigraph. This is our approach chart. We're going to use Cat 1, so our decision altitude will be 605 feet. We need to descend to 4,000. I took out the teardrop. I don't want to fly in then back out. We are going to come in from the top here, so we might as well do a straight in. So we're going to set our MCP for 4,000, 108.75 and 10.
Nico?
Yeah.
Might it be a good idea to tell the guys about the alternative
maps? Yes, yeah, we can do that just now.
In HTKP.
Yeah, let's do that the moment I'm done here, Uncle John. So what we want to do is just quickly set these things and then we will edit that. Thank you for reminding me.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Alright, that decision height was, what was that, 605. A little bit. Okay, so that takes care of that. Let's just see the text here. Then we set 4,000 on MCP, so let's just set that so we can buy ourselves a bit of time. Right, so 4,000 for that. Our approach course heading, guys, let's talk about this quickly again. A couple of guys don't seem to understand the relevance, and you know, they've come and asked about it again, so I'm going to show you something quickly. On the charts, we've got a final approach course of 210. That's all very good and well, but if you are using payware data and you do make use of Zibo's compromise in the tablet where you do the ILS fix, you are supposed to use the INET reference button, go to your approach page and check that number. That is what Zibo is expecting. If you do not put that number in, you will get a yellow or orange strike through. It will not accept your information. Alright, so we need to make sure that we have the correct value set. So we are talking 212 according to the data that is used by the aircraft. Right, it's a compromise. There's nothing we can do about it. Unfortunately, it is what it is. You're gonna have to make peace with it, or stop flying the aircraft and go fly the Cessna or something else. You know, when and if Zibo ever fixes this in a better way, or if X-Plane decides to supply better data and then this thing changes, then it will change. Until then, it is what it is. So if we go back and we look at the chart, it says 210, so there is a 2-degree difference, and there's nothing we can do about it. This is what Zibo expects. This is what you put in there. Hello, Captain Rick. Steve, they've actually pulled it. They released it last night, and within minutes they pulled it. There's a big stuff up with it, so they cancelled it. So Beta 12 will probably now become Beta 13, or it will be a rebranded Beta 12 when they fix it. Right, okay, what next? Okay, the charts. Let me show you what Uncle John was talking about. So guys, I'm using the alpha version of SimToolkit Pro. That's why if you look at your version and my version, they seem to look different, and that's the reason I've got the latest alpha build. Okay. One of the things Dan has changed in here, and this is a very good thing for guys that do not have Navigraph data, is he has built in freeware charts that's freely available here at the top. So we've got our departure and our arrival charts. Now I just want to quickly familiarize myself here with the actual stuff we're going to use. LADAT 1 Lima and ILS 21. So if we go here and we go to our arrivals, we can go find one that's, which one would it be for us? Doesn't really say. Okay, it doesn't use the same names unless I'm looking into my eyebrows. So let's just open it and see. Yeah, this is the one we use. So we can go back to the top, just delete the ones we don't use. Alright, so I've actually gone and deleted the wrong one. So there we can bookmark our actual approach. Alright, and that is a bookmark upstairs there. I'll show you guys just now. Right, so these are freeware charts. Mac was saying it's the same charts that Eurocontrol uses. So obviously this is drawn from some or other free place, which, you know, is now available to us in SimToolkit Pro. So there we've got the arrival. Let's look at the approach. We're going to do the ILS, which will be that one for 21. So as you guys can see, the charts look a little bit different, but it's got all the same, all the relevant information is there. And the bonus is it's free and it's literally given to you. And if you use the bookmarks at the top, I mean, you can go bookmark them. The moment you click on it, it bookmarks automatically. You just click and switch between them, you know, which I think is really amazing. And then let's go grab the airport one, aerodrome chart. You can then zoom in, you know, to where you need it to be, and there you go. So we are landing from this side. So we have to get off to the left, then go find our parking. There's apron 3 over there. But how's that? I mean, really nice. Steve, I'm not sure, because I only fly mostly now in Europe and the US, and I haven't tested it in the US at all. I think I think the European ones and the US being the main ones should be 100% coverage. I'm not sure what's going to happen if I fly in South Africa. I have not tested that far. But yesterday when we started talking about it and I was showing the guys here on Discord and on my other stream, you know, I mean, I didn't have an issue with it. It was right there. And what's also nice is it also gives you your alternate. So if you've got an alternate setup, EDDM, I mean, this is something somebody chose for me. It's just there, you know. So it's quick and easy to just jump between them, and not bad for something that's free. And the way I understand it, I mean, this is real world charts. This isn't something that the flight simmer went and drew. This comes from a recognized website somewhere. Anthony, no, I haven't seen that. But one of the first updates that you have to do in 2004 version of Windows is a .NET update, because there is a big update for it. So just make sure you did that. Yeah, so don't know what the rest of you guys think about this, but I mean, if you don't have Navigraph, this is gold, man. This is really gold. Uncle John.
Yes, sir.
You look like a rich Englishman. Tell me, are you almost halfway? I'm gonna start my descent now.
I can't be far off. Give me a sec.
Captain Pepka, I'm not sure, because I'm not using the version that you guys are using. I'm in the alpha program. My one updated yesterday, the last time. I'm on 060 alpha 20, so I'm not sure, you know, in the mainstream where the updates are, to be honest. Yeah, Steve, I tell you, we're blessed with these guys, man. Aviation Chris, wow, thank you. Another one. Appreciate it, sir.
58 miles double descent.
Right, yeah, I'm gonna start mine just 8 miles.
Just started descent now.
Awesome. And I just got my ISA deviation, so when we get closer we might just update that one page quickly.
Thank you for that, Chris. It is appreciated.
Always, always. You're in channel with us. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm very well, sir. Good to see you online, and hello everybody.
Good.
Hello, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
It's starting my descent. Steve, I'm sitting here thinking now about this STKP. because I also fly the P3D stuff, I'm also a member of various P3D and obviously VATSIM and I have Facebook groups. It's amazing how STKP is starting to slowly infiltrate the P3D side of things as well. For a long time nobody talked about it. It was like, you know, it's just another thing. And in the last couple of days, it's amazing how it's popping up all over on all these groups and everybody talking about it and things like that. It's good that it grows.
Well, it looks like we got better weather landed than when we left.
I was kind of looking forward to a bit of a rainy landing.
Negative, sir.
I've got lots of clouds in front of me, but I don't know if it's going to be rainy.
Nico, I'm not sure of the weather at the destination, but is the VOR available by any chance?
The VOR should be available because we should actually use it in the approach. I skipped it because I don't want to go fly over it and then turn around, do a teardrop and turn back again. So the frequency I have for it is 115.8. Let's actually put that in there.
Copy, understand. I'm just wondering if there is a DME ARC approach for this airport, given the weather, and when we should enable the forelock.
Okay, I'll tell you what Twixter told me. The LNAV profile in the Boeing is more accurate than the approach or the VLOC buttons. Okay, so unless you find yourself in a situation where you feel you really have to use VOR lock or the approach button, what he suggests, and I've been doing it with great success, is let the aircraft fly the LNAV approach. Once it comes down to your second button there on your primary flight display, your second little circle, then you hit your approach button. So you don't really have to hit the VOR lock or the approach unless you feel it's necessary. One of the areas where I think it is necessary is when you have an approach like at LPPR, runway 17, where the last waypoint, that last point is a flyover, so you tend to overshoot it unless you use VOR lock or approach. So my advice right now is fly the star, fly the star until, what's that, app kick or something. No, hang on, I'm getting my names confused here. Hang on, let me just grab it here. Tell you now the waypoints. AppKit. Alright, from AppKit, you'll see that is right before the little ILS feather. From there, you don't have to fly to the VOR and then do the teardrop return back. All you need to do is then jump from app. Let me show you. Why am I not showing you this? There's AppKit, right? and there's your ILS. You see it's right, you'll see it in a second or two. It's right in front of the ILS. So from there, I just went directly onto the ILS. I'm not going to fly that teardrop. So
Copy. And
yeah, my VOR will just be on standby. Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, sorry to disturb. I'm just wondering, do you manually control the speed past that initial approach fix? Or do you let the VNAV decide that?
Do the VNAV. If you are fully configured before your ILS hits that middle bar, alright, you don't have to intervene with speed. The VNAV will do it for you. If you reach that middle bar and you are not fully configured, the speed will bug out and you will be responsible for the speed. So you must be fully configured before your nose dips, literally.
Copy. Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you for the questions. It's nice.
On the subject of that reference speed, Nico, it's usually 5 knots, isn't it?
Depends on the wind, yes, yeah, but usually.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to come to. I seem to remember from somewhere you add half the headwind component up to a certain limit. And is that something that you program in the approach page? Or is it a matter of mental arithmetic when the speed window opens?
Yeah, you know what? I was taught to do it mentally, but in actual fact, if you go to your INET reference page there, Uncle John showed it to me one day, and I said to him, no man, don't do it, just do it mentally. And then afterwards another pilot, a real world pilot, said to me, no, you can do it. So it's not a question of right and wrong. You can do it mentally, or you can do it here. You can actually change that value, and then you must just use it, you know. If you change the value there and you are fully configured before your nose dips on that approach, this will automatically come onto your speed tape and it will be in the right position. If your nose dips, then that's mute. That means nothing, because the computer is not going to, you know, be enabled to give it to you. So it's much of a muchness. I think you need to do both. In my estimation, I personally only do the mental arithmetic because that's just how I'm used to and how I was taught. But there's not a right and wrong. Yes, you can add it there, and if you are fully configured before your nose dips on the approach, that should automatically be put in place.
Yeah, so it's an extra level of automation.
Yes.
So one less thing to remember, I suppose.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's just be silly. Let's just make it 7, right? Add 7. Right, and then we see if I can configure it before the nose dips. That should be VREF plus 7 there. So currently VREF is 149, so that should be 156. So that speed bug should go down to 156. Just because I did that. So let's have a look. Let's see if it's going to do what it's expected to do. It should.
Yeah.
It should.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Chris, thank you so much. Appreciate it. What more can I say? You should have come earlier. Just kidding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The time zone difference for us is challenging.
Yeah, I know. Anthony, yes, that's exactly what I mean. And good morning, George Camp. Good morning, welcome. Yeah, a long time, eh? We miss you. You mustn't do that again in a long time, you know. Just come say hello at least sometime. Thanks for popping in.
And when you say before the nose dips, does that mean before you're on the glide slope?
A glide slope, yeah, that's a difficult thing to really say. Let's rather talk about, you know, that line over there. If you are fully configured by the time you hit this second, you know, middle, whatever you want to call it, that little radio button over there, okay. If you are fully configured before then the MCP should handle the speed. But the moment you cross that horizontal bar over there, or you touch it, and that nose dips from there down. From there down, you are responsible for the speed. Good morning, George. Ah, that's good to know, George. Then I feel better. Thank you so much. Let me just switch this heater off now. I'm starting to bake here now. It was so cold earlier, I had to switch the heater on. Oh, you know what? I'm sitting here talking. I never did this. We need to set the right frequency. 108.75. We've gone through all the trouble of all the other things. We never did this. 8.75, but we're not going to swap that over. We'll keep the VOR active for us. So that green line over there, that's our VOR course line from TOT. Nice having some traffic here. Where's that guy? There it is. If that label wasn't enabled, I would never have seen him even.
You're not running Active Sky, are you, Nico?
I am.
It's alright, your clouds are totally different to mine, that's why I asked.
Don't know. George, 83 as far as I know is the last non-alpha build. So it hasn't updated, but I'm not sure. Don't hold me to it. Somebody else here can maybe just confirm with you. I'm on the alpha test channel, so I've got 060 alpha 20, and my one updates like sometimes twice a day, sometimes every day, sometimes 3 days later, but it's very, very active. Dan's really working hard on it. Uncle John?
Yes, sir?
When you close your X-plane later, just make sure that your Active Sky is talking to your, I presume you're flying the beta version, the Vulkan version. Just make sure that you've got the right folder path in your Active Sky, and just reinstall those cloud textures, because that's what I did this morning as well. Also, one of the things I just made sure of, that you are using the actual clouds from Active Sky.
Okay, I'm on the standard, not the beta.
Okay, alright, but then even so, yeah, it will look different. I actually mentioned it earlier in the stream. The way that the Vulkan one displays the clouds is totally different. Same textures, but a totally different display. It looks totally different.
Okay, thank you.
George, it's about the same in terms of the update frequency now on the alpha side. Hello, Ryan. Sounds good that you've spoken to them. You must just practice. No, Ryan, I'm going to rest a little while. I've got to give personal training on the Zibo to somebody a little bit later on, which means that it's going to be a private session on Discord between me and him in the training rooms here. So I'm not going to fly publicly right now, but hopefully this evening, maybe, you know, if I've got some energy left, we can do another flight. Sorry to hear that, Ryan. I didn't know there was an age restriction on Discord. That's news to me. Well, I'm so old and ugly already, it doesn't matter to me. I'm way past 16.
He's at the age where he wants things to be quicker. I'm at the age where I want things to slow down.
Right, so let's double check the QNH now.
There's a lot of turbulence on the turn into the ILS.
Okay. Alright, yeah, we're still good here.
Lovely.
Alright. So, we gotta be ready. We're gonna have to drop the gear so long, go to flaps 15. Because you see that little glide slope is right there at that second dot where we were talking about. So we need to make sure that we get it correct.
Nico, do you use this and distances from the runway by any chance for the flaps?
No, I use it from the final approach fix. I do not, how can I put it, I don't split hairs about it being 753 and 1 mile. That's just how we teach people. At this point in time, I'm just using my experience to tell me when to pull the levers. You see, the big thing, Chris, is that final approach fix. And there Vulkan goes to hell. It's just quit on me. Explain. Closes. Oh, Vulkan device loss error. Yeah. Oh. Damn it.
Crap.
Yo.
Oh no. Did it crash?
Crashed.
Yeah. Oh. Anyway, guys, I'm going to take a screenshot just to show you. Remember, we talked about that +7 that we added. So let me take the screenshot. I'll show you quickly. I did pull the levers for flaps 30 landing. We are at flaps 30 now. I mean, it's still crashing. It's just hanging on my screen here now. So let me show you the screenshot. I'm going to put it into the stream for you guys, and then you guys can watch with us. And let me put it here in Skymatics chat as well. So you can see by changing that VREF +7 instead of VREF +5, we calculated it initially. At the bottom you can see VREF is 149, then +7 is 156. Look, we're busy slowing down to 156. That speed bug actually is now sitting at 156. You You see, so because I did it before my nose dipped on that little ILS glide slope, the automation took care of that. If I went past the nose dip, right, then I was supposed to then tune it to 156. I hope that makes sense.
No, that's great to hear. Thanks.
All right. I'm so sorry that you guys are not going to see this landing. I don't know. It's a Vulkan error, Anthony. This is Vulkan killing. If you read the message there, you see what I see. I don't know, some other fence thing. Now, okay, let me quickly step back. Thank you, Alba Pino. Let me take a step back. The last conversation that me and Zibo had about threaded optimization, he said to me that Laminar, I'm not going to use the guy's name, but he told me who it was, actually suggested that when you fly in Vulkan, you need to switch threaded optimization off. And one of the key phrases that has now jumped back in my mind is he specifically mentioned something about the fence. And believe it or not, if you read this, what I'm seeing here and what I've just given you, it talks about something about the fence. It's like when you run with threaded optimization on, there are loose ends that doesn't get tied down. Okay, and please forgive me my paraphrasing. I'm trying my best to tell you what I can remember from the conversation. So I will share this with Zibo. I don't think it's a Zibo issue. This is a Vulkan issue, and it's related to threaded optimization. I literally flew Vulkan with threaded optimization off for quite a few flights, like I said earlier in the stream, and now this is the first time in a long time, and believe me, I have flown Vulkan with it on before. No, I've never had this, but this is the first time in a long time, and I believe the first time on build 11, the beta 11 of X-Plane. So there must be some merit in what that X-Plane guy said and what Zibo was trying to convey to me. I hope it helps some of you. I'm going to switch it off just now, and then I'll just redo the flight at some point in time. Then we can try again. Sorry for the inconvenience, and thank you for sticking around and sharing it now with me. It was so close. Damn.
Yeah, shame.
I'm sorry, Nico, but you and I both share the same feeling. It's such a shame. But it's something happens always on the approach, I've noticed.
Yeah, it's like maybe memory build up, or maybe a memory leak of some sorts. What I just find fascinating is I remember the word fence in the conversation. They were talking about this, something's not dying down or closing the thread or something. So anyway, I believe it or not, I can't even click on that OK button. I can't even now close it. It's not going anywhere for me. How do we get there?
See what's
Hey,
running.
Nico, are you running the Vulkan version?
Yes, this is Vulkan, and it's this is a Vulkan error. All right, I've just I'll tab to it. George, you were saying something?
I was just saying, use your task manager to see what's keeping it running and close it.
Yeah. This is interesting. Oh, there it comes. No, we don't care. Yeah, Anthony. Good guess. I don't know. Could be anything.
On your Nico, on your Navigraph approach, is there a beige? You've got the green line coming in, the green approach line, and there's a beige line coming back out again. Have you got that on your Navigraph chart as well?
Yes. Yeah.
I can stop worrying then.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite figure out why. I've not seen that sort of configuration before, but that's okay then.
Okay.
Finally
now I'm
started
confused.
my descent.
Now I'm confused. Now I'm totally confused. This morning I purposefully switched the threaded optimization on. Then what I did was I updated my VGA driver. Now you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Now it says it's off. So now, how now, brown cow? I promise you, I switched it on this morning because I was tired of flying it with it off. I wanted to see the difference. Now, I mean, if this reinstallation of the NVIDIA software has now switched it off automatically, or it went back to a previous backup or some setting or something, now I'm confused. Now I'm really confused. Oh man. All right, okay. I won't bore you guys with that. I'll have to go fly this route again with it off and with it on and see whatever happens. Because in
Okay.
my
Are you running version 1.2?
yes, of the Zibo, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes. Sorry. I've heard there's some issues with the lag, and there was something with flight deck Simnis saying that
Drag,
he's
it's the
reverted
drag.
back to 1.0.
Yeah, no, it's the drag.
The drag.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what I know in a second.
So I'm confused because I've literally just seen the updates. I'm about to do the update, but I've seen the comments and posts about the issues. So I'm
Chris,
not sure what the yeah.
it comes down to what I was saying in the stream. There are three kinds of flight simmers. There are the ordinary guys, there's the guys in the middle who want to take it a little bit more serious, and then you've got the real world guys. When you sit in the middle, there are certain compromises. You know a lot, but you know a little. You understand? You caught between a rock and a hard place, really. Guys at the bottom don't care for things like this. We at this stage we start to care about things like this. The
Yeah.
flight model is the issue. All right, and Twixter just needs to tweak it a little bit. All right. Now, the only way that Zibo has and any other developer has to really test it is to give it out for testing. All right. Now, yes, me and some of the other guys have access to betas behind the scenes that you guys don't have. You've seen me and Zibo demo them together for you guys and things like that. But I mean, the complaint, let's call it in version 10, 3.42.10 was the drag is too much. So Zibo's been tweaking it. Now, two updates later, the drag is too little. Whether it's now Zibo or Twixter, I actually think it's Twixter, to be quite honest. Okay, so he tweaks the flight model. Now the drag is too little. So what will happen is now in the next release, it will probably be the screws would have been turned up a little bit. So it's going to be a bit more stiff. There's going to be a little bit more drag. It then gets released to everybody. Everybody tests it. Zibo looks at the test information, or Twixter, and then they tweak it a little bit more. That's how it works with the development. The guys don't have a magic wand and just zap it and say, now it's perfect. It has to go through a test process. And believe it or not, each one of you listening to my voice right now and flying the Zibo, you are a beta tester, whether you want to be or not, you are. Okay, some of us just have more privileges and we get a beta before you guys, but the fact of the matter is every one of us is a beta tester, and with the feedback that's given, Zibo or Twixter then goes and tweaks it again. And unfortunately you can't split hairs like that. You have to at some point in time just say, you know what, fly it, enjoy it, give feedback, let them tweak it, we'll test the next round as it comes.
Established.
Okay. All right, Uncle John. Yeah, Anthony, well, look, it's not in my hands. I just work here. So Twixter and Zibo, it's between them. They will fix it up. I mean, they know what they're doing. One of the complaints on the forum right now is that you need more N1. Currently, it's at, I think, at 52% N1 on the approach, and it should be about 60. So that's one gauge that the real world pilot that reported it used to see, listen, this is wrong. So anyway, coming back to this threaded optimization, I mean, if the default is off, it means that we flew with it off. So then I don't know what happened, guys. Then I'm stumped. Then I'm going to have to switch it back on. No, but I had it off and I was flying perfectly with it off. Anyway, okay, let's forget about that. Next question. I think you wanted to ask something more here on Discord.
No, I was just going to say that if you're not a real pilot, you're probably not going to notice the difference in a few percentage points on where you're matching your throttles up. It doesn't matter a stuff, as far as I can say.
Yeah. Chris?
I was just going to say, we are very blessed and privileged just to even receive this version, given progress that we've seen. So, yeah, it just blows my mind away just for us to experience the flight dynamics in this version. So, thank you to everybody.
Awesome, awesome.
Just pretend you have new engines and you don't need as much power.
Yeah, it's one of these new engines or something, 50%
They're
more
fresh. They
thrust.
don't have 40,000 hours on them.
Yeah, exactly. New rings installed.
All the plane's been polished.
Yeah, that's
it's new Fitzer valves.
Yeah. Anyway, gents, okay. Let me go and cry in the cupboard somewhere and sleep it off, and then I'll feel better later on. I need to go and redo this flight definitely. I think just for the record, while we say it is off, let's switch it on now. Okay, so we do it in each other's presence. We'll switch it on. Because if it's true what I believe and what Anthony has said, now we were flying it on off and it gave us a crash, whereas I don't know, we'll test it. We'll test it. Report back when we're done. Anyway, gents, have a good rest of your Saturday. Hopefully we see each other later. Otherwise, tomorrow definitely I'll do another stream. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nico.